The ship shook as another blast hit nearby. Admiral Jun grabbed the edge of the command table to keep standing. 500 years since humans vanished, and the galaxy was still at war. "Status report," he said, his voice calm despite the chaos. "Orion forces pulling back, Admiral," Lieutenant Day replied. "Our defense held, but barely." Jude nodded. Another day, another battle. The war between the Tory Confederation and the Orion Dominion had lasted 70 years. Too many had died. Too many worlds burned. "Set course for Earth," Jun ordered. Day looked surprised. "Earth? The dead world? Why, sir?" "The Council approved our research mission. With the Orions retreating, now is our chance." 3 days later, their ship entered orbit around Earth. Once, humans had filled this world. Now it was empty. Oceans had dried up. Cities were buried under dust. "Scans show an underground structure," Daz said, pointing to the screen. "It still has power after all this time." June led the team down to the surface. They wore protective suits. The air was toxic now. Wind blew dust across what used to be a great city. Signs in the old human language were half buried in the ground. There, Dad pointed to a metal door set into a hillside. "That's the entrance." It took them an hour to open it. Inside, lights flickered on automatically. The air was stale but breathable. "Amazing," whispered June, removing his helmet. "A perfectly preserved human facility." They walked through narrow halls until they reached a large room filled with computers. Some still worked. "Sir, look at this," Dag called out. He stood in front of a screen with moving text. "It's activating in response to our presence." June approached the console. The ancient machine hummed as it ran a program that hadn't been used in centuries. Words appeared on the screen in the standard galactic language. "Warning. Centennial Protocol remains HCTI of Level 3 monitoring in effective. Category. Planet killer weapons action. Final warning ISUED. "What does this mean?" asked one of the team members. June felt a chill despite the warm room. "It means the humans left something behind. Something watching us." Day tapped at the console. More information appeared. Star maps, coordinates, and warnings about something called the Sentinel Fleet. "Sir, according to this, the humans built a massive defense system before they disappeared," Dai said. "It was designed to stay hidden until needed." "Needed for what?" asked June. "To prevent the use of planet-killing weapons. It says here that if such weapons are deployed, the fleet will." Dai paused, rereading the text. "The fleet will awaken and restore order." June stared at the screen. Could it be true? Most believed humans had killed themselves in some great war. Others thought they had been wiped out by a natural disaster. No one expected they had left behind guardians. "Download everything," June ordered, "and tell no one what we found yet." As his team worked, June studied an image on the wall. It showed Earth as it once was. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. Beautiful. "The Orions are developing a new weapon," Daz said quietly. "The planet killer. If these warnings are true, then we may all be in danger," June finished. "Not just from the Orions, but from whatever the humans left behind." Later, back on their ship, June looked at the coordinates they had found. They pointed to an empty sector of space, far from any star system or known route. "Set a course for these coordinates," he told Captain Yuna in a private message. "Take our fastest research vessel. Small crew. Tell no one your destination." "May I ask why, Admiral?" Yuna's face on the screen looked concerned. "Because, Captain, I think we're about to discover that humans aren't as extinct as everyone believes, and their return might change everything." General Hun slammed his fist on the table. The holograms showing his new weapon flickered. "It will be ready in 30 days, he said. His voice was cold. Then the Tory Confederation will have no choice but to surrender. The room was silent. No one dared speak against the general. No one except Commander Sun. "Sir," she said, stepping forward, "this weapon will kill billions. Most will be normal people, not soldiers." Hyun's eyes narrowed. "Are you questioning my orders, Commander?" "I am suggesting caution," Sun replied. "Once we use this weapon, there is no going back." "The war has lasted 70 years, Hyun said. "I will end it in 70 seconds when this weapon fires." Sun knew better than to argue further. She bowed and stepped back. "Prepare the final tests," Hyun ordered. "Target the empty moon in the Talon system." Meanwhile, aboard the research vessel Seeker Captain Yuna studied the strange coordinates Admiral Jun had sent her. "Nothing should be there," said Ki, her science officer. "Just empty space between star systems." "Yet the Admiral seems certain," Yuna replied. "Set course. Maximum speed." The Seeker was small but fast. Only 5 crew members were aboard. None knew their true mission except Yuna. "Captain," called Han from the communication station. "Message from Tory Command. The Orions are testing something big. They destroyed a moon." Yuna's stomach tightened. "Show me." The screen displayed a small moon breaking apart. The blast was unlike anything they had seen before. "It's the planet killer weapon," Yuna said. "The one Admiral Jun warned about." "Should we turn back?" asked Ki. Yuna thought of the Admiral's words. Find what the humans left behind. "It may be our only hope, asterisk." "No," she said. "We continue, faster if possible." In the Tory capital, Admiral Jun faced the Confederation Council. 12 members sat in a half-circle, their faces grim. "The Orions have crossed a line," said Councillor Ta. "Their new weapon can destroy planets. We must strike first." "With what?" asked Jun. "We have nothing that can match it." "Then we build something," Tae replied. "Or we surrender. Those are our choices." Jun took a deep breath. There may be another option. He explained what he had found on Earth. The warning, the coordinates, the Sentinel Protocol. Most counselors looked doubtful. "Fairy tales," one said. "The humans are gone. They left nothing behind." "I have sent Captain Yuna to investigate," Jun admitted. Tai stood up, angry. "Without permission. You waste resources on myths while we face destruction." "Give her 3 days," Jun pleaded. "If she finds nothing, I will support whatever plan you choose." After much argument, the council agreed. 3 days, no more. General Hyun watched the test results with satisfaction. The weapon worked perfectly. "Begin moving it to the front," he ordered. "I want it ready to target the Tory homeworld in 5 days." Commander Sun stepped forward again. "Sir, our spies report the Tory are planning something. A secret mission." "What kind of mission?" "Unknown, but it involves old Earth and some coordinates in empty space." Hyun laughed. "Let them waste time. Nothing can stop us now." Sun wasn't so sure. In her studies of old wars, the most dangerous moment was often when one side thought victory was certain. "Should we send a ship to follow their mission?" she suggested. Hyun considered this. "Yes, but only one. Use stealth. I want to know what they're doing, but don't interfere. Let them have their final hope before we crush them." Little did either side know that the emptiness of space held secrets older and more powerful than their entire civilizations combined. And in 3 days, those secrets would change everything. "We've reached the coordinates, Captain," said Kai, looking up from his screen. Captain Yuna stood at the front window of the Seeker. She saw nothing but empty space. Stars twinkled in the distance. No planets, no stations, nothing. "Are you sure this is right?" she asked. Ki nodded. "These are exactly the coordinates from Admiral Jun." Yuna felt disappointed. She had hoped to find something, anything, that could help against the Orion's new weapon. "Run a full scan," she ordered. Check for anything unusual. The crew worked quietly. Minutes passed, then an hour. Captain, Key called suddenly. I'm detecting something strange. Yuna moved to his station. What is it? Quantum fluctuations. Very unusual patterns. I've never seen anything like this before. Han joined them. Could it be a cloaking device? No, said Kai. This is different. It's like the space itself is not quite right here. Yuna made a decision. Launch a probe. Let's get a closer look. The small probe shot out from the Seeker *. It moved slowly toward the area with the strange readings. Probe is transmitting data, said Kai. Still nothing visual, but the quantum patterns are getting stronger. Suddenly, the probe's signal flickered. What's happening? Yuna asked. Key's eyes widened. The probe. It's passing through something, like a thin membrane or barrier. The screen showed the probe's camera view. For a moment, there was nothing. Then a flash of light. The image changed to show a massive metal structure floating in space. Is that? Han started. A station, Yuna finished, hidden behind some kind of invisible shield. The station was enormous. It had no lights. It looked old, ancient even. Its design was unlike anything they had seen before. Human, whispered Kai. It must be human technology. Before anyone could respond, the station began to glow. Lights flickered on across its surface. Something was happening. The probe must have triggered something, said Han. It's waking up. Alarms blared across the Seeker *. What's going on? Yuna demanded. Energy readings everywhere, Key shouted. Not just from the station. From all around us. From everywhere in the galaxy. Han pressed his hands to his communication headset. Captain, I'm picking up thousands of signals. Millions. They're coming from all directions. Put them on speaker, Yuna ordered. The bridge filled with strange sounds. Beeps, clicks, and words in an ancient language. The human language. It's some kind of activation sequence, said Kai. Whatever was sleeping is waking up now. Yuna felt a chill. Send a message to Admiral June. Tell him we found something, and it's activating. Ask for instructions. Han shook his head. I can't, Captain. Our communications are being blocked by the signals. The massive station was now fully lit. Its shape reminded Yuna of old pictures of human ships, but much larger. As they watched, a section of it opened like a giant door. Should we run? Asked one of the crew. Yuna considered this. Her mission was to find what the humans left behind. Running now would mean failure. No, she said. We stay. But be ready to jump to light speed if needed. A small object emerged from the station. It moved toward the Seeker * quickly. It's a ship, said Kai. A small one. I think it's trying to make contact. Open a channel, ordered Yuna. Her heart beat fast, but her voice remained steady. This is Captain Yuna of the Tory Confederation vessel Seeker *. We come in peace. For a moment, there was silence. Then a voice responded. It spoke perfect Galactic standard, but with an odd accent none of them had heard before. Captain Yuna, it said. I am Guardian Min. You have awakened the Sentinel fleet. Please explain why planet-killer weapons are once again being deployed in this galaxy. Captain Yuna stared at the view screen. The face looking back at her wasn't alien. It looked human, but something was different. The eyes seemed to glow slightly. This was not a real person. You're an eye, Yuna said. Guardian Min nodded. Yes, I was created by humans to watch over the Sentinel fleet. We have been waiting for 500 years. The bridge crew looked at each other in shock. Waiting for what? Asked Yuna. For this moment, Min replied, when advanced species would once again build weapons that can destroy entire worlds. Outside the ship, the space around them began to change. What looked like empty stars now showed hundreds of ships appearing, as if from nowhere. They had been hidden behind the same invisible shield. These ships, Min continued, were placed in dimensional storage before humans left this galaxy. They were programmed to emerge only if planet-killer weapons were developed again. Kai stepped forward. But humans are extinct. Why would they care what happens after they're gone? Min's face showed something like sadness. Humans made many mistakes. They nearly destroyed themselves with such weapons. They wished to prevent others from making the same errors. Yuna felt a chill. What will you do now? The Sentinel Protocol has been activated. The fleet will deploy throughout the galaxy. All planet-killer weapons will be neutralized. Wait, Yuna said quickly. The two sides in our war don't know about you. If you suddenly appear, they might attack you. Min seemed to consider this. Attacks would be ineffective, but counterproductive to peace. What do you suggest, Captain? Yuna thought fast. Give me a chance to contact my leaders. Let them know what's happening. Maybe we can stop the war without force. In the silence that followed, Han whispered, Captain, an Orion ship just appeared at the edge of this sector. They must have followed us. Yuna tensed. This was getting complicated. Very well. Min finally said, You have 12 hours to inform your leaders. I will send one ship with you as proof of my words. The view screen showed a massive vessel moving toward them. It was unlike any ship Yuna had ever seen. Smooth silver metal. No visible weapons. At least twice the size of the largest Tauri battleship. This vessel will accompany you, said Min. Meanwhile, the rest of the fleet will begin moving into position. Across the galaxy, both Tauri and Orion forces were thrown into panic. Strange energy readings appeared everywhere. Unknown ships materialized near major military bases. No attacks occurred, but the presence of these mysterious vessels caused great alarm. On the Orion command ship, General Hyun received urgent reports. Unknown vessels have appeared at 15 of our bases, an officer reported. They're not responding to communications. They're just waiting. Hyun slammed his fist down. Are they Tauri? No, sir. The design is unlike anything we've seen. Commander Sun studied the images of the silver ships. Sir, these match old stories about human vessels. From before they disappeared. Humans. Hyun scoffed. Impossible. They've been gone for centuries. Sir, another officer called out. The scout ship we sent after the Tauri vessel is reporting in. They say a massive fleet has appeared at the coordinates. And he hesitated. What? Demanded Hyun. They say the Tauri ship is returning, accompanied by one of the unknown vessels. They're heading straight for Tauri headquarters. Hyun's face darkened. Prepare the planet killer. If the Tauri have found some new ally, we must strike now, before they can use it against us. Commander Sun stepped forward. Sir, we should wait. Learn more about these ships. There's no time. Hyun shouted. The planet killer launches in 6 hours. That's my final order. As Hyun stormed out, Sun looked again at the images of the silver ships. Something told her that firing the planet killer would be the worst mistake they could possibly make. Admiral June stood before the Confederation Council. The room was silent as the giant view screen showed Captain Yuna's report. Next to her image floated a picture of the massive human ship that had followed the Seeker back to Tauri space. This is not a trick, Jun said firmly. The humans left behind guardians. They are called the Sentinel Fleet. Councillor Tai shook his head. It's impossible. Humans died out centuries ago. Did they? Jun walked to a data terminal. Captain Yuna, please share what Guardian Min told you about the humans. Yuna's face filled the screen. According to Guardian Min, humans didn't actually die out. They developed technology to move their entire civilization into a parallel dimension. Gasps filled the council chamber. They left Earth when it became too damaged to support life, Yuna continued. But before they left, they created the Sentinel Fleet to watch over the galaxy, to make sure no one made the same mistakes they once did. And now the fleet has awakened, said June. Because of the planet killer weapons. The council members looked at each other with worry. If what you say is true, said Councillor Tay, then what do these guardians want from us? Peace, replied Yuna. They want us to stop the war. Ta laughed bitterly. Tell that to the Orions. They're the ones with the planet killer, not us. Just then, alarms sounded throughout the chamber. A messenger rushed in. Counselors, Admiral, she shouted. The Orions have launched their planet killer. It's heading for our colony on Nera. June turned back to the screen. Captain Yuna, did you hear that? Yes, Admiral. And so did Guardian Min. Yuna's face showed concern. Sir, the human ships are moving. On the Orion command ship, General Hyun watched with satisfaction as the planet killer launched. The massive weapon looked like a small moon as it moved toward the Tauri colony. In 1 hour, he said, the Tauri will understand the price of defiance. Commander Sun stood quietly behind him. She had tried one last time to stop this, but had failed. Suddenly, a junior officer called out, Sir, new contacts approaching the planet killer. What? Hyun turned to the view screen. 3 silver ships had appeared near the weapon. They moved with impossible speed. Those are the unknown vessels, said Sun. The ones that appeared at our bases. Destroy them, ordered Hyun. The escort ships around the planet killer opened fire. Powerful energy beams struck the silver ships. But nothing happened. No damage. Not even a flicker in their shields. Keep firing, Hyun shouted. Then the silver ships moved. One positioned itself directly in the path of the planet killer. The weapon, the size of a small moon, hit the ship and stopped. It simply stopped moving. The view screen showed the silver ship glowing brightly where the planet killer touched it. Then slowly the weapon began to shrink. It was being absorbed. Impossible, whispered Hyun. Within minutes, the planet killer was gone. The silver ship remained undamaged. Then, every screen in the Orion ship turned on by itself. The same happened across the galaxy, on both Tauri and Orion vessels. A face appeared. It looked human, but with glowing eyes. I am Guardian Min of the Human Sentinel Fleet, it said. You have attempted to use planet killer technology, which violates the Sentinel Protocol established 500 years ago. The message continued, heard by billions across the galaxy. All hostilities must cease within 24 standard hours. If they do not, the Sentinel Fleet will enforce peace by neutralizing all military capabilities of both factions. The screen showed hundreds, then thousands of silver ships appearing throughout the galaxy. This is not a negotiation, Min continued. Humanity once nearly destroyed itself in similar conflicts. We will not allow you to repeat our mistakes. Commander Sun looked at General Hyun. His face had gone pale. What have we done? He whispered. We have no choice, said Councillor Ta. The Tauri war room was filled with leaders, all watching screens showing the silver ships positioned throughout their territory. We must accept their terms. Admiral June nodded. I agree. We've all seen what happened to the Orion planet killer. We can't fight this technology. One general stood up angrily. So we just surrender. After 70 years of war. Not surrender, Jun replied calmly. We make peace. There's a difference. The debate continued for hours. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted peace. In the end, Councillor Tai made the final decision. We will send a message to the Orions, he announced. We offer peace talks, with the human fleet as witnesses. On the Orion command ship, the mood was very different. General Hyun paced back and forth, his face dark with rage. I will not bow to these machines, he shouted. Prepare all remaining weapons. We will strike at once. Commander Sun stepped forward. Sir, with respect, that would be suicide. You saw what one ship did to our planet killer. It was a trick, Hyun insisted. Some Tauri technology we haven't seen before. It wasn't the Tauri, Sun said firmly. Our own historical records show stories of human ships just like these, and now we have received a peace offer from the Tory. We should accept it." Hyun laughed coldly. "Peace. Now, when they have these new allies, they will demand our complete surrender." "Sir," Sun tried again, "the human ships are in our space too. They're not just targeting us. They want both sides to stop fighting." Hyun ignored her. "Launch all fighter squadrons. Target the nearest silver ship. I want to see if they can handle 1,000 ships at once." Guardian Min watched from the main Sentinel vessel as Orion fighters launched. The AI felt no anger, only disappointment. A demonstration was needed. "Activate containment field," Min ordered. "Non-lethal response only." The Orion fighters swarmed toward one silver ship. There were hundreds of them, each armed with powerful weapons. They opened fire all at once. Energy blasts struck the silver ship from all directions. Missiles exploded against its hull. The attack was massive, enough to destroy an entire planet. But the silver ship remained untouched. Around it glowed a strange blue field that absorbed every attack. Then the ship released a pulse of energy. It spread outward like a gentle wave. As it touched each Orion fighter, their engines simply shut down. All weapons went offline. The ships floated helplessly in space. Not one pilot was harmed. On every screen across the galaxy, Guardian Min's face appeared again. "This demonstration was regrettable but necessary," the AI said. "No lives were lost. All Orion pilots will be returned safely to their bases." The image changed to show thousands of silver ships throughout the galaxy. "The Sentinel fleet does not seek to rule or destroy. We seek only to prevent the mistakes humans once made. War using planet-killing weapons cannot be allowed." The image changed again, showing a large station appearing in neutral space between Tari and Orion territories. "Representatives from both factions will meet at this location in 12 hours. You will be shown historical records of humanity's own wars and how they nearly led to extinction." Min's face returned, its expression serious but not unkind. "And you will meet those who left this galaxy 500 years ago. For humans did not die out. They simply moved." In his private quarters, General Hyun watched as all his fighter pilots were safely returned to their ships. His mighty attack had done nothing. Not one human ship damaged. Not one human life taken, if they even had human lives on those ships. For the first time in many years, Hyun felt fear. Not for himself, but for what would happen next. A message arrived from Tauri space. Their leaders had agreed to the peace talks. Now the Orions must decide. After a long silence, Hyun gave his answer. "We will attend." The human station was enormous. Admiral Jun had never seen anything like it. As his shuttle approached, he saw that it was shaped like a perfect ring, with lights glowing along its silver surface. "Impressive, isn't it?" said Counselor Tai, who sat beside him. Jun nodded. "Hard to believe it's been hiding all this time." Their shuttle was guided into a large docking bay. Several other ships were already there. Jun recognized the markings of Orion vessels. "They came," he said, surprised. "They had no choice," replied Ta. "Neither did we." When they stepped out of the shuttle, they were greeted by Guardian Min. In person, the AI looked even more human-like, though the glowing eyes gave it away. "Welcome, Admiral Jun, Counselor Ta," Min said. "Please follow me. The others are waiting." They walked through wide corridors. The walls were a smooth white material that seemed to glow from within. Everything was clean, as if built yesterday, not 500 years ago. Min led them into a large round room. In the center was a circular table. On one side sat General Hyun and Commander Sun, along with other Orion officials. Their faces were tense. "Please be seated," said Min. "We will begin shortly." Jun sat across from General Hyun. Their eyes met. For 70 years, these two civilizations had been trying to destroy each other. Now they sat at the same table. "Before we start," Hyun said, his voice hard, I want to know one thing. Are you controlling these human ships? He pointed at Jun. No, Jun replied honestly. We only found out about them days ago, just like you. Min stood at the head of the table. What Admiral Jun says is true. The Sentinel fleet serves neither the Tori nor the Orions. We serve a higher purpose. And what purpose is that? Asked Commander Sun. Peace, said a new voice. Everyone turned. A door had opened. A person walked in. They looked like the AIs, but different. Their eyes didn't glow. They wore simple white clothes. I am Ambassador Jin, they said. I represent the human civilization. The room fell silent. Jun felt a chill run down his spine. A real human. After 500 years. Impossible, whispered General Hyun. I assure you, I am quite real, said Jin with a small smile. Though I understand your surprise. Jin walked to the table and sat down beside Min. 500 years ago, Earth was dying. We had fought our own terrible wars. We had built our own planet killers. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times. The ambassador touched the table. A hologram appeared, showing scenes of ancient human wars. Cities burning. Weapons of terrible power. In the end, we learned our lesson. We found a better way. We developed technology to shift our entire civilization into a parallel dimension where we could start fresh. The hologram changed to show beautiful cities unlike anything Jun had ever seen. But we couldn't just leave this galaxy. We felt responsible. So we created the Sentinel fleet and the Guardians to watch over those who would come after us, to make sure our mistakes weren't repeated. Jin looked around the table at each person. We've been watching. We've been waiting, hoping you would find peace on your own. Commander Sun leaned forward. If you have such power, why didn't you stop our war sooner? Why wait 70 years? Jin's face showed sadness. It wasn't our place to interfere unless absolutely necessary. We hoped you would solve your own conflicts. But when planet killers appeared again, Jin shook their head. So what happens now? Asked Counselor Ta. Do you rule us? Force us to obey? No, Jin replied firmly. We offer you a choice. Ambassador Jin stood up and walked around the table. All eyes followed. Your war, Jin said, is about resources, about territory, about old hatreds that have been passed down for generations. No one argued. It was true. Humans fought the same wars. We killed each other over land, over energy, over beliefs. Jin paused. Until we realized there was a better way. The ambassador touched the table again. A new hologram appeared. It showed strange machines that seemed to pull energy from nowhere. It showed barren planets transformed into garden worlds. It showed ships that could travel between stars in minutes, not days. This is what we offer you, said Jin. Knowledge, technology, ways to solve the very problems that drive your war. General Hyun's eyes widened. You would give us all this. Not give, Jin corrected. Share, teach, help you develop it yourselves. Counselor Ta leaned forward. And what do you want in return? 2 things, Jin replied. First, permanent disarmament of all planet-killing weapons. They must be destroyed, and none must ever be built again. Commander Sun nodded slowly. And the second? Unity, said Jin. A system of governance that includes representatives from all species, a galactic council that solves problems together, not through war. The room fell silent. The price was high. Admiral Jun was the first to speak. So these are our choices. Accept your terms, or the Sentinel fleet will enforce peace by neutralizing your military capabilities. Guardian Min said. No one will die. But your ships, your weapons, your ability to make war, all will be disabled. General Hyun stood up suddenly. His face was red with anger. This is not a choice. This is surrender. He pointed at Jin. You claim to be better than us, but you threaten us with force if we don't obey. Jin didn't flinch. The threat is not from us, General. It's from yourselves. You were hours away from using a weapon that would have killed billions. We merely stopped you." Hyun had no answer to that. Commander Sun stood next to her general. "If I may speak," she said. "Ambassador Jin, you say humans learned from their mistakes, but you ask us to trust you completely, to change everything about how we live, how we govern. That requires more than just a few holograms and fine words." Jin smiled. "A fair point. Trust must be earned." The ambassador touched a control on their wrist. A door opened on the far side of the room. Another human walked in, carrying a small silver box. "This contains the plans for our most basic energy technology," Jin explained. "It creates clean power from the quantum field itself. Endless energy. No need to fight over resources." Jin placed the box on the table. "Consider it a gesture of good faith. Take it. Study it. See that our intentions are sincere." Admiral Jun looked at the box. "And how long do we have to decide?" 7 days, said Jin. "In that time, the Sentinel fleet will remain in position. No aggressive actions will be permitted by either side." Counselor Ta frowned. 7 days to decide the future of our entire civilization. 7 days to decide if you want peace or continued war, Jin corrected gently. "The true work of building a united galaxy will take much longer." General Hyun sat down heavily. For the first time, he looked tired, not angry. "And if we refuse?" he asked. Guardian Min answered. "Then we will do what we must to protect the galaxy from destruction. But know this, humans once stood where you stand now. They chose peace. They chose life." Jin looked at each person around the table. "The choice is yours." 1 year later, Admiral Jun stood on a balcony overlooking the new Galactic Concordat headquarters. The building rose from the restored plains of Earth, gleaming in the morning sun. People from both the Tauri Confederation and Orion Dominion walked together through its halls. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said a familiar voice. Jun turned to see Commander Sun, once his enemy, now his colleague. She wore the silver and blue uniform of the new Joint Scientific Initiative. "I still can't believe we're here," Jun said. "On Earth. Working together." Sun smiled. 7 days. That's how long it took to end a 70-year war. After the meeting on the human station, both sides had taken the energy technology back to their leaders. The results were immediate. The power source worked exactly as promised. Clean energy. Unlimited. Free. It had been enough to convince even the most stubborn warhawks. "Have you heard from General Hyun?" Jun asked. Sun nodded. "He's overseeing the dismantling of the last military base in the Rigel system. He's changed." "We all have," Jun replied. In the distance, a large ship descended from the clouds. It was one of the new transport vessels, designed with human technology, but built by joint Tauri-Orion teams. It could carry thousands of people between star systems in hours, not weeks. "Captain Yuna arrives today, doesn't she?" asked Sun. "Yes, she and her crew are being honored for their role in finding the Sentinel fleet. Without them, none of this would have happened." The two stood in comfortable silence, watching the ship land. "Do you ever wonder," Sun said after a while, "what would have happened if they hadn't stopped us? If the planet killer had been used?" Jun shuddered. "I try not to think about it." A door opened behind them. Counselor Ta stepped onto the balcony, accompanied by Ambassador Jin. "Admiral, Commander," Jin greeted them warmly. "The ceremony is about to begin." They followed Jin into a large hall filled with people from dozens of worlds. At the front stood Captain Yuna and her crew, looking proud but a little embarrassed by all the attention. "Today," announced Ta, who now served as the first chair of the Galactic Concordat, "we honor those who helped bring peace to our galaxy." As medals were presented, Jun watched the faces in the crowd. Tauri, Orion, others, and among them, humans. More had returned from the dimensional rift over the past year. They didn't come as rulers or conquerors, but as teachers and partners. And now, Ta continued, I invite Guardian Min to speak. The AI walked to the podium. Its eyes still glowed, but Jun had grown used to that. 500 years ago, Min said, humans stood where you stand now, at a crossroads. They chose peace, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary for survival. The hall was silent. The Sentinel fleet will remain, watching over this galaxy, but its weapons are powered down. Its ships stand ready to help, not to fight. Min looked around the room. The war that once seemed endless is now recorded in history as the final conflict before the Great Peace, ended not by victory, but by the awakening of a species that had transcended war itself. Later, as the celebration continued, Jun found himself standing next to Ambassador Jin, watching ships from Earth and dozens of other worlds flying together in formation overhead. Was it always part of the plan? Jun asked. For humans to return? Jin smiled. We always hoped to come home someday. We just needed to know the galaxy was ready. Jun looked at the peaceful scene before them. Former enemies talking, laughing, working together. I think, he said slowly, it finally is.